Good morning.
Hello, hello. Coffee talk.
Coffee talk. And guess what I don't have?
Your coffee.
Coffee. I knew I was forgetting something.
I was looking forward to this all day. I have my Compass coffee K-cup in here.
Oh, I'll never forget that time you showed up with Chick-fil-A iced coffee, and I was so jealous.
What's going on with Chick-fil-A out there? I see the West Coast office is eating Chick-fil-A every day.
Every day. Okay, so this is our new place. Okay, so our place, as you all know, is in downtown LA, which is kind of in shutdown mode at the moment. And it's just because of where it is. So no biggie. We love them. Great. But we needed a place to work. And this location is in Orange County in Southern California. And this location is open. It's not in a business park. It's like its own building. So that's why they don't have probably as many regulations. Anyway, and there's no restaurant here. So it just so happens to be about a mile away from a Chick-fil-A. Mm-hmm. And between the hours of 1 and 3, they deliver for free.
Mm-hmm.
So
perfect.
We eat Chick-fil-A. I eat Chick-fil-A every time I'm here. I also go to the beach every single time I'm here. So
that's why you're always at the beach and eating Chick-fil-A. It all makes sense. We found out about that. You guys were eating the heart-shaped tin full of nuggets like weeks ago, and I didn't even know about it. And I guess it was what they were doing for Valentine's Day, because they finally took the boys and they couldn't even believe that they were eating nuggets out of a heart-shaped tin.
Well, because as you know, Chick-fil-A has small portions. Like, let's be honest. Their portions are small, and we use this for lunch and dinner because generally we're here. So everyone was getting their own side of nuggets. And then we're like, no, there's like this gigantic one.
Vat of nuggets, please.
So I honestly rarely ever went to Chick-fil-A. And to be honest with you, whenever I wanted Chick-fil-A, it was on Sunday when they're closed. And so
I kind of on Sunday.
I just got Chick-fil-A and took it out of my head because it just never worked out. And I didn't live close to one. So in January when we moved here, Teresa on our team said, Margaret, why are you buying Chick-fil-A without the app? And I'm like, oh my gosh, because I don't believe in that. Like when I'm at Starbucks, I'm like, when people pay with cash, I'm like, what are you doing? You're missing out on points. Anyway, it's February, 18th, 19th, and I just turned red status. So that's how often we're getting it.
Good. Well,
so anyway,
to get into my Chick-fil-A story, mine started in the summer because we just moved to Bethesda, Maryland, which is just outside of Washington, D.C., for those of you who don't know. And we never saw Chick-fil-A there either. So when we got here, we couldn't believe our good fortune that there was a Chick-fil-A down the street. And that was right when everything was shutting down for COVID, except Chick-fil-A was well prepared for the situation because they already had their app. They already had curbside delivery. They were ready to go. So the one thing that I would do every mid-morning before lunch when the boys were completely out of control was I would say, all right, everybody in the car, we're going to Chick-fil-A. Last Frozen 2 soundtrack in the minivan and go get some nuggets. So
wow, Faryn, life for you is basically, and for me, is basically exactly the same like when we lived in New York.
Yep, same vibe, same speed. Oh my goodness.
Especially the minivan.
You're always driving minivans in New York City.
Oh my gosh, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Talk, where you just never know where we're going to go. We did come prepared, thanks to Faryn, with a very beautiful agenda. And so I do want to reinforce why in the world we even do Coffee Talk. And that's because week in and week out, day after day, Socialize LA is constantly looking at the landscape of marketing and business. And it's important to us to get messages out that we think are important. And that kind of collides on Coffee Talk when I sit here with Faryn, who is one of my longtime BFFs and longest time friends who we know each other very well. So it's very difficult for us to get on, talk business without talking about life. So it kind of is like a nice balance. Exactly. But I also wanted to point out, Faryn and I, before we went live, we were just talking about the dynamic. And if you don't mind sharing dynamic at your house right now, work, school, life.
Sure. So basically, in context of how do we even find a quiet space to go live, that can be a challenge, and also feeds into our topic today of decluttering and trying to streamline. So in terms of streamlining the household, we've got a lot of people in this house with a lot of different schedules. My parents are living with us right now. I have 3 young kids. My husband is working from home. So we've set up different areas and kind of a schedule where everyone knows what they can do, where and when. Doesn't always work perfectly, but I have a 5-year-old who's doing virtual kindergarten, and he's got his learning area set up where I would normally be working, but that's not the best place to take a client phone call where I need quiet or to go live. So when that happens, we set up an extra area, a desk in a different room in the house. My husband and I sometimes clash over who's going to get the quiet room and who has to take their call, with Lenny in the background doing virtual kindergarten, where sometimes he's screaming his sight words song at the top of his lungs. But it's fine because everybody's pretty much in the same situation right now. So I found that clients and colleagues, everyone's been completely understanding, because what else can you do?
What else can you do? I was on a sales call yesterday, and one of the employees of the company that we were pitching to had little ones screaming in the background. And I was in the middle of talking. I didn't stop. Because what was she going to do? Nothing. She's probably in the same room as them.
Right. And, yeah. You want to pretend you don't hear it and power through.
Yes.
Should I acknowledge it? Like, is someone hurt? Is this an emergency?
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't. And so we just, went on, and that's the way it is. I think it's so great though, because a lot of, we're talking about decluttering this month. So if you haven't, Faryn just mentioned it, if you haven't been tuning in, every week I have been addressing one of the 4 sections of the Flex Your Influence digital declutter. And one of those is mindset. That was in week 1. So you can always rewatch that video. But your mindset, and, that goes with like the facade of like having a perfect everything, the perfect work environment, and to me, it's real. I like being ready. I like having things set and ready to go. But for no other reason that I just want the experience that someone has with me and with this company to be seamless.
Right.
But things happen, things happen. We, as many of you know, we have the Flex Your Influence community, and we have a training that went live today, but it didn't go live. And I got an email right before this that said, hey, I can't access this training. So there is a technical issue happening. And so now I need to go back in and address that. But I couldn't do that right away because I was going live on Coffee Talk. And here I am sharing it with you, because it's important that we know that these things happen.
Exactly.
Yep. So anyway, I am going to, we're talking about decluttering. Now, I am not an authority on decluttering as it relates to life. Faryn and I were roommates, and it took everything in me. And I did a good job, I think, of making sure that I did my role in the living space to always swift when I needed to, clean up. But that's because, there was order in the house. But Faryn, that's definitely all you. So let's do this.
I think I come from a long line of declutterers, at least on my mom's side of the family. So it was kind of built into my DNA. But when I learned about Marie Kondo a few years ago, and her life-changing magic of tidying up book and concept just kind of permeated every aspect of my life, because everything that she talked about just really clicked in terms of how to streamline, how to declutter, and the mindset, which really all comes down to asking yourself the question, does this spark joy? And that this can be anything, that this can be an article of clothing, that this can be the way that you're spending your time, that this can be your job, your career, your relationship. Does it spark joy? If yes, hold on to it. If not, it might be time to say goodbye. So that is the basis of what we've been talking about all month long. And Margaret's been doing an amazing job of kind of breaking down the tools and tips that we have in the spring clean checklist. We were thinking about the idea of spring cleaning and moving into, the meat of 2021. I think up until now, people were kind of still in ramp up mode, but now our clients and businesses all around us are starting to get serious about being productive and getting things done and running campaigns and adding value. And all that, at least in our opinion, it really starts with a good declutter. Marie Kondo in her book talks about this idea of, do you remember when you were in college and you had a big paper to write? Well, what was the first thing you did in your dorm room? Chances are you might have started cleaning first. And what she explained is that isn't necessarily a procrastination technique. It's actually something that for a lot of people, psychologically, you need to be in a clean environment before you can really think and be creative and let your ideas come to life. So that was for me like mind blowing that, it really wasn't procrastinating. There's actually psychology behind that.
Wow. Even I practice that.
And you don't know it, right? You don't necessarily know it. And so we were talking about this as a team on one of our monthly Socialize LA calls. And the idea just really clicked that people want to get their marketing in order. People want to run big campaigns. But in order to do that, there's some housekeeping that should happen first. And that's really what we've been talking about all month long. And we can get into our specific, tips. But that's the concept is there's some general decluttering that can happen for your business, both internally and externally, that will really allow you to kind of have that creative space to build and thrive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And we actually have a rule here at our headquarters that when we leave the office, it needs to be clean. So that way, when we come in the next day, even though yesterday I was the only one in and I knew I'd be the first one in today, I double and triple checked that it was all clean before I left.
Yeah. I have the same rule for going to bed at night. The kitchen has to be clean.
Yeah. Yeah. It just feels good when you come in. It's like, it's ready. So how do we translate that into our business and our marketing? And one of those ways is neglecting. So if we neglect something and we're not paying attention to it in the physical space, that's when clutter stacks up. That's when dust starts happening, and it just piles on until somebody cleans it, and that's basically, the way our businesses function. So if we're not addressing something, we just get further and further and further behind. And you know me, Faryn, I'm never the type of person who wants to scare someone into making change in their business, because I don't believe that puts you in the right mindset for success either. But I respect the people that we're speaking to. I respect our business owners, our colleagues, our peers. And so what I would say and what I would challenge you to do is to think about it and to start prioritizing things in your business that are being neglected. I
love how you described it as dust collecting. It's like digital dust is collecting that you might not see in the corners of your business, but to a customer that's coming to you for the first time, they might be clicking on a link that goes to a 404 error page. You didn't realize it, but that was your chance to make a first impression, and you lost the customer because you hadn't gone back and checked where things are driving to in a while. And that's one simple step that we always recommend. And we do that exercise with our Flex Your Influence members is we, remind everyone, have you checked where all your links are leading? Is everything up to date?
Yeah. And Faryn does a great job at that. We both really spearhead the Flex Your Influence community. And I'll get in and I'll ask them thought-provoking questions. And then Faryn comes in and, bats cleanup in that she'll like address everyone. And one thing that I noticed just this morning or yesterday, Faryn, and I loved it, someone had asked a question and they had asked for advice on a title of a program or a freebie. That's the type of support we're giving them. We're giving our members, and I love it. And it takes us no time. You know what I mean? Like we just think about it because this is what we live and breathe. So anyway, she asked a question. I gave an answer and I was like, oh, this is good. This is a solid. And then Faryn came in with the details as to why I went that way, because she knew why I was saying it. I didn't give a detail because I am a details person, or I'm a detail oriented person as much as I need to be. But Faryn is super detail oriented. And I loved how you came in and and you explained why that was a logical way to go.
Yep, that's why we make a good team.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very true.
So you want to talk a little bit about Inbox Zero? I know that's one of your favorites.
Oh gosh, I live by Inbox Zero. Inbox Zero is, before I knew it was a thing, I lived by it since I worked for Disney in my early 20s. Because to me, a clean inbox means that I addressed everything that was set before me. And so I have a podcast, I should have put that in the notes, all about Inbox Zero. But basically what it is your email inbox. How many emails do you have? If you are looking at your inbox and you have 30,000 emails, I honestly don't know how you even function. I really don't. And I'm not just saying that. And I'm not a neat freak. I'm not any of those things. But it's almost like a checklist for me in my inbox. So I recommend one day grabbing your favorite beverage, even putting on your favorite show, and just start archiving. When you archive something, I know why people keep emails in their inbox, because they're afraid they'll go away. When you archive, it's still taking up space in your storage. So you're not getting rid of it. You can still go and do a search.
Right.
Now we use Google for work. So we don't use Outlook. So you might want to consult someone in Outlook before you take my advice on that, if that's what you're using. But in Gmail, you can just do a simple search. And so I always can find an email, even though it's not in my inbox. And then, of course, with folders, you do that. And then I even use tasks. Like as a company, we use Trello to project manage. But for my own sake, I sometimes use Google Tasks just to flag something that needs to happen like in 3 weeks. And there's a process that you follow when you get an email. Do I delete it? Do I answer it? Do I delegate it? And does it need to be done at a later date? Then, flag it for something else. And that's basically what I do. And then some days on my planner, it just says email. And when I write email, that means get rid of emails, answer emails that are in there. Like right now, right this minute, I have 16 emails. And 6 of them I just received 5 minutes ago. So as you know, then do the math. I had 10 emails and some of them need me to do something, and that's why they're sitting there. Yesterday, when I left the office, I had 3 emails. But generally, twice a week, I get to Inbox Zero.
Love it.
Yeah.
And I think a misconception is that people use their inbox as their to-do list. And I think we're big advocates of get it out of your inbox, write it down on your to-do list, or put it in Evernote or whatever system works for you, but don't necessarily use your inbox as your to-do list, because that is going to quickly add up and could be overwhelming.
Right. So, absolutely.
So I love that one. I think we talked about, your decluttering in terms of checking your links, making sure that everything's up to date on your customer journey. We talked about Inbox Zero. And I think one of the other things that we really wanted to make sure we hit on today was standard operating procedures, SOPs. You may be hearing that a lot because as businesses grow and they look to bring on more support, whether internally or externally, it just becomes really important to have documentation of your processes and how to find things, because once that is documented, then that enables the full team to be able to do their jobs and be able to find answers to questions without asking one or two people every time. So that's a big.
Oh my gosh. Totally. And I will tell you, I'll be super transparent. SOPs are new for Socialize LA. It was kind of like the wild, wild west for the past 12 years.
All in your head.
Yes. All in my head, all in the team's head. And now I feel like any position in our company, I could do it if I needed to. But as the company's growing, that is super, like, that is not a way to grow your company. And it doesn't give people the keys to kind of innovate and do it, find new ways of doing it better, faster, just more efficient.
Yeah,
so
more
streamlined.
More streamlined so that you can find everything all in one place instead of going to like 5 or 6 different places to try to find
exactly
and process and where's that old document so I can make a copy of it, that sort of
right thing. Where's that email, where I lined out what we would know. So now we do have a working document in Google Sites that is our SOP, where we can go. I can put trainings. I do a lot of Loom training, so I'm showing the team what to do, and then I'm getting that training and putting it into the SOP, so that way when we hire again, all of these processes are put into play. And I think that's a good segue into another thing we wanted to talk about, and that was the investment of people in our company. So we have hired and we have expanded our range of services. We have an SEO service as well as paid advertising on Google and of course social media. And then we hired 2 employees to work here in the office. So all of that has been a huge investment. And you might think, well, this is like kind of a crazy time to be making an investment, but we don't see it that way. We see it as this is a time that, we plan on being in business for another 120 years. And, and it's important that we continue to invest back in the company. And I'll let you know that as the CEO, I was able to take some time off this week without feeling like things aren't getting done. And yesterday, my work day started at about 8:30. And by 4:00, I was thinking, okay, I have some time now. What do I do? And I thought, oh my gosh, I really don't have anything to do. I can leave. And so I went to the beach at 4 rather than at 6.
Southern California mic drop.
So yeah, it's just investments are sometimes difficult, but they are worth it. And I mean, I think it's important that I practice what I preach, because we come into companies as their investment.
Mm-hmm.
They bring us on, Faryn, you and I, either as a CMO type or someone who is managing a team, or we are doing their social media for them. And we get it. We get the pain of bringing someone on, but we also know the great reward. So.
Absolutely. And this all fits in with the digital declutter, because as a CEO, you're decluttering your to-do list by bringing in trusted partners and delegating and allowing yourself to thrive by doing what you do best and what you love.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then being able to innovate for everyone involved.
Exactly.
For the team, for the clients, like this is, yes, absolutely. So it's really freeing me up to just do what I know that needs, what needs to be done and what can be done, and explore the possibilities and all of that fun stuff.
Absolutely.
So I think this is a great edition of Coffee Talk. Are there any last words?
I would say grab the checklist if you haven't already, because it's such a great place to start. It's beautifully designed. And let us know if you have any questions, because we love the topic of decluttering. We could talk about it all day. So please reach out through the Facebook group, Modern Marketing, or any of our channels, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yes, absolutely. And just so you know, the first and second week of March, we are doing open enrollment for the Flex Your Influence community. So get ready. But that's it. That's Coffee Talk for today. Send us your messages. Tell us what you want to know about, and we will talk soon.
Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye.